Good morning students, how are you? Might be safe at home? Today in this online session, I am back with part 2 of reproduction in plants of 7th standard. Today's topics of discussion are sexual reproduction in plants, parts of flower, types of flower, fusion and fertilization, pollination and its types, fruit and seed formation, seed and modes of fruit and seed dispersal. So let us start with sexual reproduction in plants. As we know that flower is the reproductive part and it is a modified shoot. Flowers may be unisexual or bisexual. Flower consists of male and female reproductive parts either in one flower or in separate flower. Now we will study about the parts of flower. There are 4 parts of flower which are calyx, that is sepals, corolla, that is petals, Androecium, also called as a stamen, and Gynoecium, also called as pistil or carpel. Calyx and corolla are called as accessory whorls because they do not take part in reproduction, while Androecium and Gynoecium are called as essential whorls because they take part in reproduction. So it is clear about essential and non-essential whorls. Calyx and corolla are non-essential whorls, whereas Androecium and Gynoecium are essential whorls. Why? Because they take part in reproduction. Androecium, that is stamens, are the male reproductive part, whereas Gynoecium, that is carpel or pistil, are the female reproductive part. Let us study in details about the different parts of flower. First one is about sepals. Sepals are present at the outermost whorl of the flower. They are generally green and sometimes colored. If sepals are colored, then they are called as petaloid sepal. Second one is petal. Petals are colored and most attractive part of the flower, which attracts insects for pollination. Petals have different fragrance also. In the given figure, you may observe sepals and petals. Now it is about stamen, which is the male reproductive part. Stamen is differentiated into filament, connective and anther. Anther forms pollen grains, which further forms male gametes. Next is about carpel or pistil, which is the female reproductive part, and it is divided into style, stigma and ovary. Ovaries contain ovules or eggs. Ovary mature to form fruit and ovule mature to form seeds. In the given figure, you may observe stamen and carpel. The figure shows about the longitudinal section of flower showing all the 4 parts of flowers. You may observe here the location and position of all the 4 parts of flower. Now the next topic is about types of flower. There are 2 types of flower. They are unisexual or bisexual. Let us study about them one by one. First is about unisexual, which is also called as dioecious flower. In majority of flower, male and female sex organ are present in different flower. Example of such flower are pumpkin, bitter gourd, cucumber, mulberry, walnut, and these flowers are called as unisexual or dioecious flower. Those flower in which both male and female sex organ are present in a single flower, then they are called as bisexual flower or hermaphrodite or monoecious. Example of bisexual flowers are mustard, rose, petunia, china rose, marigold, sunflower, etc. In this given figure, you may observe unisexual and bisexual flower of papaya and dhatura respectively. Now we will learn about fusion and fertilization. The union of male and female gamete is called as fusion. In sexual reproduction, when male and female gamete fuses, it forms a single celled structure called zygote. This process is called fertilization. Further, zygote develops into embryo and embryo develops into complete individual, either plant or animal. Let us study about pollination and its type. What is pollination? Pollination is the process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Pollination is of two types, that is self-pollination and cross-pollination. In the given figure, you will see that there is transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma by bee. Now, it is about self-pollination. In this case, there is transfer of pollen grain from anther of a flower to the stigma of same flower or another flower of same plant. Here no external agencies are required for pollination. Flower itself is sufficient for performing the process of pollination. In this case, flower must be bisexual, that is both male and female parts of the flowers are present in the same flower. In the figure, you may observe the two different types of self-pollination. In the first type, it occurs within the same flower, and in the second type, it occurs between two flowers of same plant. Now we will see about cross-pollination. In cross-pollination, there is transfer of pollen grain from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of a different plant but of same species. In cross-pollination, different agencies are required for pollination. Different cross-pollinating agents are wind, insects, water, birds, bats also, human being also. In 12th class, pollinating agents and details about these types of pollinating agents you will study. In given figure, you may see that bees, that is insect, is doing cross pollination. Pollen from stamen stick to a bee and is visit to a flower to collect nectar. Then the bees travel to another plant of the same type. As a result, pollen on the bee sticks to a pistil or carpel of a flower onto the other plant. So in this way, cross pollination is achieved by bee here. Let us now study about how fruits and seeds are formed. After fertilization, the mature ovary form fruit and the other parts of the flower fall off. But in some cases, sepal remains, called as persistent calyx. So the fruit is a ripened or mature ovary. Mature ovule will develop into seeds. The seed contains an embryo enclosed in a protective coat. Further, fruits may be of different types. Some are fleshy and juicy like mango, apple, orange, and some are dry and hard like almond and walnut. In the given figure, you may observe different types of seeds of some plants. The last topic of this online session and also of this lesson is seeds and modes of fruits and seed dispersal. Seeds are transferred or dispersed to different places. This is essential to prevent competition between the plants or its own seedlings from sunlight, from water, from minerals. It also helps the plant to adapt in a new habitat for wider distribution. Seeds and fruits of plants are carried away from one place to another by wind, by water, by human being and also by animals. Winged seeds like drumsticks and maple and light seeds like grasses and oak and hairy fruits of sunflower are dispersed by wind. Some seeds like coconut, they are dispersed by water. Spiny seeds, as in case of xanthium, are dispersed by animals. Some seeds are dispersed when the fruit bursts with sudden jerk, as you have seen in castor and balsam. So, you have seen here that there are different modes of dispersal of seeds and fruits. So, children, this is all about today's session. Thank you. Have a nice day. For any kind of doubts, please write your question in comment section.